First fast lap of qualifying here at the Hungaroring being embarked on by Jose Maria Lopez. Clock is running on this first 20-minute session. And Matt Neal already using a lot of curb at turn 4, the new resurfaced Hungaroring. The lower curbing allows drivers to take a few more liberties, coming out of 5 down to 6 and 7. The chicane has been opened up a little. Now, we didn't see either Lopez or teammate Muller set a really competitive lap, except the last lap that Lopez did, which he aborted to come into the pits. He was green in the first sector, purple in the second sector, so it was clearly going to be a quicker lap than anybody had produced.
Yeah, the stewards have been ultra strict so far this weekend on track limits, so they've got to try and wring these things to the neck without trying to overstep the mark and put too many wheels over the white line. But with the 80 kilos the Citroen's carrying, it is tough going. It's not a question of whether the car, it really does push the tyre to its limits.
You can see he's green in the first sector, purple in the second sector. Although Ivan Muller has now gone quicker, so has Tom Chilton, so Lopez will not end up at the end of this sequence of laps with the fastest time.
Muller gone substantially quicker, good 2/10 up in the second sector.
And Lopez will come across the line. First flying lap, 1:48.148.
Which you'd have to say is a bit of a scrappy lap. They were doing 47.5s, the Volvos were good for in the final free practice. So he's got to try and find a bit more of that time. And Muller goes a little bit quicker.
And Chilton goes quicker again, 1:47.58. Current qualifying record is 1:48.72. So Tom Chilton, 1.1 seconds and change inside the old qualifying mark. And Huffy goes faster by 6/10, and Thiago quicker than him. So Thiago Monteiro, 1:46.84.
Katzberg's in there in third as well. Wow, I thought that was a big lap from Chilton, but the Hondas have just blown it away.
Coronel, fourth quickest in the DHL Chevrolet, and that we saw in free practice too. Coronel up in the top half dozen, challenging for a Q3 position. John Philippi comes back into the pits, having not completed a quick lap.
I'll tell you what, Martin, Citroen could be a victim of their own confidence here. They might have gone out on scrub tyres to start with. If they do, if they're not careful, they might struggle to get in the top 12 and make it through to Q2.
They've got 15 minutes to go out of the 20-minute session, so they've still got at least one really good shot. Ekblom 5th for Volvo, but look at the bottom of the timing pile. That's Ted Björk, who had an engine change after Slovakia before free practice, and we'll have to start our opening race here in Hungary from the last spot on the grid. But Björk now on a flyer. Purple first sector means he is quicker than anybody else has gone so far. So this will put him, if he can continue, ahead of Monteiro. See Huff getting a toe off Norby. Huff personal best first sector, but black in second sector means that the tyre has given up and he's not getting what he got out of it before. On board the Volvo. Now this is on board with Michelisz heading into the pit lane. The Volvo in sector 2.
The Orgs abandoned it. Two good sectors.
38.7, so that's not the fastest outright second sector, but it is quick. And his first sector was the fastest of all. He's 2/10 up. There is the Polestar Cyan Racing team, and there is the cyan blue. And the Swedish colours, of course, reflected in the car's colour, as well as the name of the team. Björk will go to the top of the pile, unless this is a dodgy final corner. Ted Björk goes fastest, 1:46.722. Previous qualifying record, 1:48.727. So he is 2.005 seconds quicker than the old pole. And that's what the revisions to the track have made, and it's not yet rubbered in properly.
Demustio just overstepping the mark there, running a bit wide, so he's got to abandon the lap. He'll be heading back to the box as quickly as he can.
Yeah, because that will have put cack all over the tyre, dust all over the tyres, and he will have no remaining grip. And Demoustier currently in 10th. Lap 3 disallowed. That will be the quick lap for Fredrik Ekblom, who has now dropped from 5th to 6th. despite nobody actually going quicker. So he's lost a quicker lap that put him ahead of Tom Coronel. Top 12 is what we're looking at the moment, because at the end of this Q1 session, those will be the cars that go through into Q2. So those are the ones highlighted down the left-hand side of your timing pylon, with the lighter grey behind the numbers. And of course, purple for the fastest time. So Mehdi Benani, Ferenc Fischer, Norbert Michelis, Rennie Munich, and this man who's yet to set a time, John Philippi, are out of Q2 at the moment. And if Norby does not make it through, there will be massed disappointment.
There'll be mass riots, I would have thought.
Well, what it will do is build us up for an epic story for tomorrow, but I'm sure everybody would be a lot happier with an epic story of him at least being in the top 5. Here he comes. Norby heads out of the pits. Well, his lap at 1:49.1 wasn't even remotely competitive, 2.4 seconds away.
Philippi using every inch of the circuit he can. It's 2 personal bests so far.
And 0.78 away. That could end up with him ahead of the 2 factory Citroens.
Yeah, he's going to be knocking on the door, for sure.
Well, last week in the Slovakia ring, he was on a top 5 lap, possibly even a top 3 lap, until he binned it at the long right-hander at the end of the lap. And if he doesn't exceed track limits there, what we've seen of this is a very quick lap, and Philippi does go 8th. So 1 second away, ahead of Ivan Muller 9th, ahead of Jose Maria Lopez 10th. His confidence is definitely building. He's really now starting to get his head fully around these tracks that were all new to him last year, and around the Chevrolet, which again was all new to him last year. Dario Desposito, the general factotum and head of everything at Yas Honda. Just past him, you saw Duncan Laycock, who's the new head of engineering there, man, of course, who will be very familiar with long-term viewers from his time at RML in their Chevrolet operation. I think we're going to see a lot of changes probably in the way Honda operate now that Duncan is on board and starting to look at things from the outside.
Nice slow-mo of Norby there, just trying to reduce the locking of his inside rear.
And of course, that rear locks so easily because it's barely touching the ground. A little bit when you see the MotoGP riders really hard on the brakes, and the back wheel is dancing barely on the tarmac and half the time in the air. Come on, Norby! Whatever the Hungarian for come on, Norby is. Actually, I bet that's that on the banner.
All right, this is Michelis's chance. He's got to make this lap count.
9 minutes 42 seconds when he starts the lap left on the clock, so he sort of just about has time to do this and really maybe get one more in if he needs to. Top 12 at the moment, Demustier and Valente at the bottom. Tarquini is out of Q2 again. Now, he's on a flying lap as well, as is Benani. They're both doing personal bests, as is Demustier. So it's all this trying desperately not to get bumped out of the top 12. That's what's going on at the moment.
Oh, it's a quick first sector off Michelitz.
But not purple. 1500ths away. That'll be enough to put him comfortably in the top 10.
And you've got 3 of the other big names outside the bubble at the moment. Valente, Tarquini and Benani have all matched Michelitz in that first sector, so yeah, he's got to keep the hammer down.
And Benani, a 38.7. Tarquini, a 38.9 in the second sector. Norby needs a 38.8.
Benani P2.
Benani goes P2, so he is safe. And here comes Gabriele Tarquini. Katzberg's on a flyer as well, in 5th position in his Lada. Valente on a flyer in his Lada. Whoa! And Norby using a little bit more of the road, perhaps, than he might have liked there, exiting the penultimate corner. Now to turn 14.
Oh, did he
exceeding track limits. That could really be bad news if that was 4 wheels off there. Well, Norby goes 4th. Momentarily, we will wait and see. They've been particularly keen on the track limits at the exit of turn 11.
Now, if you go by the law, he was 4 wheels over the solid white line, which
Just pointing out now...
Does that apply to local heroes?
Just pointing out now, where are the factory Citroens?
Well,
Muller 13th, Lopez 14th.
But Lopez has just put in a stellar first sector.
37 thousandths quicker than Ted Björk. Well, there's no question he's 2 tenths up. This is going to put him comfortably in the top 12 and probably at the top of the pile. In fact, such is his speed now, he could almost come into the pit lane on this lap.
Muller's almost matched his first sector as well.
Yeah, we didn't see anything of what the Citroens could produce on new tyres, I think, in free practice 1 or 2. A lot of rake in the car, really standing it on its nose. Lopez goes fastest of all by half a second, 46 hundredths, and Muller isn't going to be that far behind either. Oh, he is, because that's not going to count. Ivan throws it sideways into corner 11, the back. Matt, we talked about how high the Citroen is at the back and how much that makes the back of the car slide, and it rotates to help the front tyres have an easier life. But even from a man of Ivan's sideways nature, that was far too sideways.
Yeah, I think he's got a little bit too... No, he just gets a wee bit wide, gets on the... You can't even see the dust and the dirt, but you just get off that racing line, and it just picks up the dust and dirt on your tyres, sucks it all up to the sticky tyre, and then you're going to take it a few corners to clear it off. He doesn't sound very happy at the moment, does he?
No. Well, now he's got no option. All he can do is have another go on tyres that are a fraction past their best and try and stay on line.
He's got to make this one count, because at the moment he's languishing down in 15th place.
For both races.
For both races.
For both races. If you're outside the top 12 and Q1, whatever position you finish in, that's where you start both races. This could be a massive body blow to Muller. If he doesn't pull something out of the bag right now, then his race weekend is all but over.
Okay, he's 3 tenths off his quickest time in Sector 1, but that's still easy enough to get into the top 12. So, he's the rear end of that car. It looks he's just got to be a lot more respectful when he gets to 11.
He's going to have to take a lot more on the inside curb here. A lot more on the inside curb. And again,
he needs to make this count.
To get it in there tidily, and he does. It's not as quick as his first one, but is it quick enough? That's a personal best second sector, but that's hardly surprising because he at least stayed on the track this time. Tries to come around Nicky Katzberg, who is currently in 8th place and on an outlap. Lopez on an outlap as well with 4 minutes remaining. Why? Why on earth would you be doing that?
This is a big pressure lap, but I think Ivan's responded to the pressure, and he should.
Good enough, surely. It's got to be good enough. 10th. Ooh, I don't, well, yes, unless Chilton, Philippi or de Moustier produce something.
This is Chilton's 2 tenths. Oh, down.
4 minutes left. You can hear the radio. That's Ivan asking his engineer if there's any chance at all to do another run. Why? Well, maybe he's in trouble in 10th. Why's Lopez gone back out? Have they just made a change and he's trying to do something on a quick out lap in lap? Because he's fastest. He doesn't need to go out to stay in Q1 or to go through into Q2.
Looks like Chilton's not going to do it.
No.
Fortunately, Katzberg.
Oh, I don't know. No, 9th. Chilton's ahead of Muller. So is Coronel. Ivan is down in 11th. Ivan is down in 12th as Katzberg goes up to 9th.
Where's Valente?
Valente is on a very slow outlap. Valente, de Moustier, maybe even John Philippi could do for Muller here. Fredrik Ekblom finishes a 7th fastest lap.
Yeah, Muller's on a slow lap now.
Here's de Moustier, Katzberg. Look at Nicky Katzberg's flying lap. But he's already ahead of Muller, so he's not danger. Danger comes from behind, and it could come in the form of another Citroen. this Citroen. No, not this lap.
Not this time, Josephine.
Well, that's where he went off before, isn't it? Completely got the braking for corner 11 wrong and shot straight off. So de Moustier, 2 minutes 30.
Yeah, so if he brings any debris back, it looks as though he's got his brake bias just way too much to the front, but
yeah,
depends if he brings any debris back on any of that dust and dirt for the others like Valente trying to get that last hot lap in.
Ivan is in.
I wonder if he realises how close he is at the moment.
Yes, absolutely. The guys on the Pratt perch at Citroen are not full. Look at that. Look at how quickly they're leaping into action. He wants new tyres on or rotated tyres on or something.
Valente's gone too deep at turn 1.
Oh, come on, Hugo. Get your head together. This is a car that should be in the top 5 and currently is 13th. It's basically him or Ivan. One of them's going to start 13th for both races here. And at the moment, it's Hugo. But has he got anything left to show?
Well, Valente in the Chevrolet was the master of the one lap.
Ooh, big oversteery moment there out of 4. Let's hear Muller's radio.
On va repartir Yvan, il faut qu'il pousse pour sortir comme un pouce. Il faut qu'il pousse comme un pouce.
Muller's done. There's only 1 minute and 20 seconds left. It's going to take him 1 minute 46 at qualifying pace to get round. So Muller has nothing left to answer. It's down to Valente. If Hugo Valente can produce a lap here, and this is looking pretty aggressive.
Inside the track limits.
It is not a personal best lap. It now is a personal best second sector, but he's 7 tenths away. Ivan's lap, 1.097 away.
If he can hold that 7 tenths, he'll do it, but if he loses more...
This is going to be very close. Incidentally, Ivan is 6 thousandths behind Tom Coronel. That might be what he misses out on the top 12 by. And Valente, 13th, does not improve enough. It's now down to, no, de Moustier's in the pits. John Philippi. John Philippi's on a personal better lap. And he comes 14th, improves, but does not move up. Ivan has escaped by the skin of his teeth. Unless René Munich, he's 1.19 away, so he's already outside the bubble. Will he move ahead of Ferenc Fischer? Will he move ahead of Grégoire de Moustier? Coronel takes the checkered flag in front. Did Munich get a tow? He moves in front of Fischer, but he does not bump Ivan Muller. Wow. How lucky is that?
He can breathe again, circling the Citroen, the pit crew.
Yeah, he can breathe again and possibly start cursing again, because that was not the way things should have worked. You shouldn't have a 4-time world champion in comfortably the best car on the track, hanging on with bated breath to see if one of the new kids is going to bump him out of Q2.
That might have been a bit of a payback for too much confidence. If they'd just gone on used rubber, suddenly they're throwing it on new rubber. It's picked up too much turn-in, too much grip on the turn-in, and then it's making the thing too loose. And so not going through the systems, not practicing what you're going to qualify with. And
that is why everybody else was using new times in free practice, new tyres in free practice too, because you then find out, oh my Lord, it's suddenly far too oversteering.
Yeah, to be fair to Muller, when he needs to get a steady, solid lap in, he managed to do it. And
only just, but there wasn't quite the tyre underneath him.
Valente had the opportunity, he just overcooked it.
So Ivan lives to fight another day, and that will come up in just a moment. Our field has been paired to 12 cars as we head into Q2. Getting ready to set the cars back out on track now for the second elimination stage. 12 become 5 and go through into Q3. And this will also set the grid for our opening race and our main race, with the exception of the fastest 5. So 11th and 12th at the end of this period of qualifying will be 11th and 12th for both races. And then the top 10 after qualifying is finished will be inverted to form the 10 first places on the opening race grid, and then they will go from the fastest down to the 10th place on the second encounter of the afternoon tomorrow, our main race. So 20 minutes free-for-all for everybody. We're now down to 10 minutes and 12 cars. And the deal here, Matt, is to play either 4 Q3, go through, get more drivers' points, more manufacturers' points, and a chance to shoot for outright pole, or if you don't think that's capable, or your car is capable of that, trying to end up in 9th, 10th, and that would be the front row start for our opening race. So there's always that balance that the team have to kind of choose where they're going.
Unless there's some sort of drama for two of the people on the grid, I do think people who say they go for that 10th are telling porkies, really. But it's too big a risk.
Yeah.
It's too big a risk to start out the top 10 for both races tomorrow. So you've got to shoot high, and you've got to go for that top 5 starting place.
Fredrik Ekblom with the blue and flames on his helmet. Both he and Ted Björk have black helmets, but as you can see, Ted has got the stripes in the colours of Sweden. Helmet always makes me think of Rickard. One day I'm going to remember, when I'm talking to him, to ask him if Rickard was sort of a childhood hero growing up, and if he went for a similar livery. I know Perry McCarthy always had his helmet liveried like Gilles Villeneuve, because he was his ultimate hero when he was watching Formula One as a lad.
I tell you what I do miss with the Volvos these days is the shrill of the 5-cylinder which we used to get.
It was a glorious noise.
It was a beautiful noise. Beautiful, beautiful noise.
If there's only even remotely one reason for owning a C30, having that 5-cylinder engine would be one really good reason. There are probably lots more, but that noise alone. You know, and everybody goes, oh, 5-cylinder engine, and you immediately think of the Audi Quattro, but it had such an utterly different noise to that. And different, you know, totally different again from a Volkswagen V5 or something like that. So it was a very different, but really, really great sounding engine.
Well, here we go then. This is anybody's qualifying at the moment.
It really is, and that's one of the, you know, great joys that we've had this season, is pick a winner, any one of 12. Easily, any one of 12 could be in the top 5 here. And in fact, any one of 13 or 14, because Hugo Valente and Grégoire de Moustier didn't get through, and Valente definitely, pretty much at any track we were at last year, had top 5 potential. So what about Lopez? First out of the pit lane again, setting the quick time early, so it's a red and grey car versus a red and grey car, because Norby is behind him on line.
Lopez first on track, clear track in front of him, but he's still got to watch those track limits. Not quite as fast through sector 1 as he was in Q1, but that would be fast enough if he can keep a good solid lap together.
Norby behind him was 3/10 slower on sector 1 alone.
Van Muller, fastest front sector, so he's righting his wrongs at the moment, and Katzberg.
By a 10th quicker than Muller, by 11, nearly 1200s. And Coronel, a 37.9. To put that into perspective, in sector 1, Lopez did a 38.2.
Yeah, Lopez, I think he was all 4 wheels over the white line there, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets judged on that one.
Lopez, purple in sector 2, and in the sector 2 runoff areas. And turn 11 is the one that everybody has been penalised for. Lopez fastest of all at the moment in sector 2. Coronel, though, with the fastest first sector by a big margin. Chilton is out of sector 2. Here comes Tom Coronel, 39.0 to 38.4. 38.5 of Lopez, so Lopez has redressed the balance in sector 2. I thought he got far too hard into the chicane, Lopez. I wonder if Coronel's lap was clean. Lopez fastest from Montero, Huff and Muller. And Coronel, is this going to be a top 5 lap for Tommy? No, not yet. Our timing screen taking a while to catch up, but he is 6th position. That's where he ended FP2. But the gap is 66 thousandths behind Muller. And now, who's gone quicker? Lopez, Björk, 2nd quickest. So our top 5 at the moment: Lopez, Björk, Katzberg, Montero and Huff. So that is Citroen, Lada, Volvo and 2 Hondas. Not in that order. Muller's out, Coronel's out, Ekblom's out, Chilton's out, Bernani, and then Mikulic and Tarquini.
Solid first sector from Muller, but is it going to be good enough? He needs to keep the hammer down through these technical sections.
Fastest final sector of the field from Fredrik Ekblom so far, and you can see he's only 8th. And again, at the bottom of the pile, Gabriele Tarquini hasn't set a time. He's just come straight back into the pits on his flying lap. So that wasn't his traditional out lap and straight back in. He actually aborted his flying lap to come in. Norby is going for another set of tyres because he's doing the same.
Oof, that's risking a bit because Norby's out for both of them.
Norby and Gabriele could end up 11th and 12th if they are not really sharp. Mikulic and Tarquini, 1 Honda, 1 Lada at the bottom of the pile. Bernani currently 10th, Chilton 9th. They would start 1st and 2nd in the opening race tomorrow. But for Volvo, can they get an outright pole position in only their 3rd race weekend? Ekblom on green lap, it's not purple. Will it be in the top 5? And if it is, it bumps out Huff, and it's 6th. It's close. He's tied with Huff. That's the same time to the 1,000th. Lopez, Björk, Katzberg, Montero, and then Huff and Ekblom. Well, if nothing else changed, we would have 6 cars in our top 5 runoff.
Oh, you've got...
Because you can't separate them on time. You would send Ekblom out first because he set the time and only tied Huff.
Considering it's a 1-minute 46 lap, you've got 8 cars within 4/10 of a second, Martin.
Yes.
That is...
And first to second
close.
is 6 thousandths. Lopez, the world champion in the Citroen, 6 thousandths quicker than Björk on that first flying foray. This could get very, very entertaining in Q3.
Montero just adjusting a map or something there on his steering wheel. You can see his eyes are pretty wide open like saucepans there. He's
full juice.
Yeah,
full juice. On the ometer, he's gone to 11, hasn't he? This is what, in Chevrolet terms, is a black mat lap. Obviously not designed for radio chatter.
So Tarquini, this is it for him. Let's hope he doesn't get too much traffic on from cars on their out lap.
Well, this is Tarquini's only lap, not only his first, but his last as well, because he put the kibosh on his quick lap, and Norby is in the same position. Gabriele has not set an actual flying lap time.
Smoking a bit, that Lada, out of turn 1 on hard on the power.
I wonder whether that's some issue that they've got. Incidentally, I saw John Philippi having a turbo change after free practice. Now, that doesn't involve a penalty, I don't believe.
Like turn 3, they're just going through there. Tarquini was going through. It's incredibly tight. They're absolutely flat to the boards through there.
And using a lot of curve in turn 3 and in turn 4, but that was a perfectly legal turn 4.
Looks good, but how quick is it?
Tucking in late apex in turn 5. Down to 6 and 7, the chicane. Late on the brakes. Gonna rock out of here really quickly, though. So you can't carry the speed too far in.
He's 3/10 down, but that's still enough. He's still got it in him to do this.
Could be top 5. Now, if we get a 3-way tie, if he does a 1:46.831, I have no idea what's going to happen then.
Half a second down.
As Victor Shapovalov
is
looking
1 second
very
off pole.
pensive. Yeah, Bernani's a second away. Norby 1.3 away. Tarquini hasn't set a lap. This is it. It is all or nothing with 30 seconds on the clock. Katzberg's on an out lap. It's all about Tarquini. I think Norby...
I reckon he'll do this.
Parked it. Tarquini is across the line in 10th. So that is front row for the opening race. He will start the opening race on pole unless he is bumped by Norby.
No, this is a fast front sector off Norby.
Quicker than his previous best, and Gabrielli's was a 38.5. Norby's is a 38.23. So it's over 2/10 quicker than Gabrielli Tarquini.
Tarquini's stardom could be quashed.
Lopez, Montero and Huff are all going again. Ekblom, the Volvo, tied for 5th at the moment, is in the pits.
Coronel, a big front sector.
Oh my lord! Coronel, 2/10 quicker in sector 1 than Lopez, who's currently the fastest man, has set. Come on, Norby. The crowd on their feet. Huff goes purple in sector 2. Suddenly, it's all kicking off. The checkered flag is out. Norby is either in or out, and surely he's going to be inside the top 10, but where is he going to end up? He is currently last, and he will come across the line and go 3rd momentarily, but almost everybody else is on a quick one. Gabor Weber, you saw there shouting, who was his teammate in the Seat Leon Euro Cup with Zengo and also in World Touring Cars with Zengo. Rob Huff goes on top, quicker than Lopez. Huff fastest of all for Honda. Montero 3rd. Bernani comes across the line 10th. Coronel 9th. Chilton is out. Tarquini is last. So your top 5, Huff, Lopez, Montero, Coronel and Björk. So we didn't get the tie and 6 through, and Norby does not make Q3.
And Muller down in P8 again.
Okay, so Muller will start the opening race 3rd on the grid, with the Volvo of Fredrik Ekblom 2nd on the grid, and the Citroen of Mehdi Bernani 1st on the grid. For the opening race, yes. Look at some happy faces there at Royal Motorsport. Coronel is through into Q3. There's Mehdi's dad. Mehdi will start on pole for the opening race here for the 2nd week in a row. Norby's Barmy Army a little disappointed to see their hero only in 6th position, but Alessandro Mariani, look, he worked hard for that, didn't he? Currently being interviewed live on Hungarian TV. But he worked very hard, Norby, to try and get it to work. Tom Coronel is really up for this. Ted Björk, though, first out in Q3.
Coronel seeming as pumped as ever, isn't he?
Yeah, isn't he? Ivan's only just got back in out of Q2. Now, he must have stopped in the weighbridge. He can't have been taking that long to get back, unless that's a Citroen thing now. Alex Legui down in pit lane. Bit overcast again, still quite warm this afternoon, though. Not so searingly hot that it's bringing all the oil bubbling to the surface. I think Ivan might be at home to Captain Grumpy this afternoon.
Yeah,
not liking that body French too much.
Retire back to his 55-foot motorhome for a little bit of peace and quiet.
Is he going to go and put the dynamic stickers back on the helmet, or is that deal done?
You mean they're not on there still?
Need to harass, mate. Harass. So, Ted Björk is out, on track, and Ivan Muller, well, that is the walk of disappointment, I think, isn't it, as much as anything else?
Yeah, it's not a happy Frenchman, is it?
No. Well, you know, we talked about this yesterday, didn't we? I don't remember who, but somebody came out with the phrase that motor racing, and I'm paraphrasing, so I can't remember it exactly. Motor racing basically is a string of disappointments, very occasionally interrupted by a brief period of ecstasy. And that's what it is, because it's racing, and you know, pretty much you're going to lose a lot more than you win. and be disappointed a lot more than you're ecstatic. And we talked about this yesterday, didn't we? The problem with winning is you immediately have to discard it and move on to the next thing. You can barely enjoy it because then you start to fret about the next race, the next qualifying session, the next season, the next car.
Yeah, nothing lasts forever. Even if you're in a great car for one season, next year you're going to have another one. You've got a new challenge, a new bunch of faces you've got to get into.
So Ted Bjerg starts his first flying lap in Q3, and the pit lane is now open for Tom Coronel to join the track behind him and build himself up to speed. And Bjerg in the unique position of having nobody having gone out before him in this session, so he knows the track will be empty, unless there's a sweeper or a marshal somehow or something that's strayed on, which is unlikely in the extreme.
Polestar Volvos have been super quick in the first 2 rounds, but because of lack of results, it means they arrive here on 0 kilos, so they need to make that count, and this is his perfect opportunity. You can see he's working hard in there, though.
Hopping all over the curbs. Exit turn 4, this is 5. Carry that speed through corner 5, late exit, and then down to 6 and 7.
Good first, strong first sector.
Yep. 38.0 is quick. We've seen 37.9 though, haven't we, from Coronel in the first sector.
37.7 Coronel.
37.7 was he?
He just couldn't string it together in the...
38.0 was as quick as we saw from Lopez though in sector 1. This is a really good lap from Bjerg, and once you get into Q3, all bets are off. Anything can happen, because again, Matt, this distills down to driver, car, tyre in perfect harmony.
Nice and neat and tidy. 39 dead. It isn't quick for sector 2 though.
Staying within the white lines. Qualifying lap record 1:48.727. Steps out across the curbs. 1:46.980.
It's okay, but that shouldn't be pole. That's I think he lost it in that sector 2.
6/10 quicker than his previous best lap in free practice 2.
That Volvo does look stiff compared to, you compare it to the Citroen which is out there.
Kept it really clean though. Again, picking up that unladen rear wheel. The reason it's not spinning, of course, is because he's on the brakes. And the stiff front end, rear end allows that wheel to pick up. So Tom Coronel, 1:46.457, his previous best.
Now, each of these top 5 drivers, they get a brand new set of slick tyres, which they will never be able to use again. So they can give it all or nothing. Doesn't matter whether they lock them up, screw them up, heat them up, whatever they do, they're giving it back afterwards.
Here we go. And of course, it means that if you even remotely think you might make it through, you've got to have that set in the tyre oven all day, waiting to go, or in the tyre warmers. So Tom Coronel begins his tilt. Now his previous best, 46.45, would see him half a second quicker than what Ted Bjerg has just done.
Now he certainly does look as though he gets on the power really well out of turn 2 and through 3. This has been his strength all morning here.
Well, one thing we know about the Chevrolet was it always had a good chassis. Great turn-in, 79 thousandths slower than the Volvo.
He's clean through 5, but it doesn't look quick, or quick enough for Kyle, I don't think.
Oh, a lot of curb on the exit to 6, on the entrance to 6. Throws the car across the road a fraction. Is that going to have an impact? 79 thousandths slower after the first sector. And Bjerg's second sector is a 39.0. Fourth, Coronel's. Oh, hangs it out of 11. He's up. A 38.665 for Coronel in the second sector. So he is ahead on time.
That's a good second sector for Coronel, but I still don't think it's where you need to be banging on that front row.
He's definitely going to be on row 2 of the grid, This is a clean lap, hasn't exceeded the track limits. Look, barely even crosses the white line exiting the final corner. He goes fastest of all. 46.718. He managed a 46.45.
Wow.
Aldo Prio closest to us. So has the track gone away?
Ooh. See the rear, just he snagged a brake
Or was he just a little offline and it all just slides away?
Oh, just inside.
Just kept
It
to
looked as though the last couple of corners, 13 and 14, the two 180-degree hairpins, he'd lost his front tyres by that point, so he was struggling a lot with understeer coming out the final corner.
So we've had TB, TC, and now TM. Ted Björk, Tom Coronel, Thiago Montero. And then we're going to have JM, Jose Maria.
Try saying that after you've had a drink.
And RH, who ruins the entire plot there. Huffy. So Thiago Montero, his flying lap of 46.41. Now, if he doesn't get within 6/10 of that, then definitely the track is going away from us.
Thiago Montero, championship leader.
Yes. Will he remain championship leader? How many was he leading by? 1. So if Lopez out-qualifies him, they will be tied as championship leaders.
Oh, he's on the limit going into 3 or 2 there, into 3.
As you would hope, staying on the darker part of the track where the grip is.
Where's he going to be?
A lot of curb in 4. 38.18. Don't forget that Coronel was down in Sector 1 as well, but not by that much. So is the track getting slower? Is Coronel going to be on pole for the main race? When was the last Chevy? Who drove the last Chevy to pole position?
Probably Rob Huff or Van Muller.
Was Huffy on pole?
Be one of those two.
Macau?
Yeah, it'd been Huffy on pole. Huffy's always on pole at Macau.
No, he's not though, is he? I don't know. I was bobsledding at the time. I didn't see that one.
You can put Huffy in a horse and cart around Macau. He'll put it on pole.
Good with the whip. Thiago, 1800ths away in the second sector. The track, at least for the 3 cars we're seeing now, is not as fast as it was. So currently, this is going to leave him in danger of going down to 3rd. Oh, second quickest, all right. So 1700ths of a second behind Coronel. So at worst, Tom Coronel will now start the main race in 3rd position.
A
little bit more understeer from Thiago Montero. I think the track is going away from our drivers.
Just a reminder, do not slow down too much in the in-lap. Do not slow down too much in the in-lap.
Yeah, unlike last week where you ruined the battle for pole.
Now, I'll tell you what that is. They're starting his pressures really close, so don't take too much out the tyres on the green lap. So you don't want to overheat them, increase the pressures too much.
No, what he means is don't mims around on your in-lap like you did last week and ruin somebody else's lap.
Could be.
That's what they mean. Yeah, don't slow down too much on your in-lap. I.e., don't do a 4-minute in-lap when it's a 1:48 lap for the guy who's warming up behind you. That's what they're reminding him about. Because if he does it again and there's no penalty, there will be a riot in the driver's briefing tonight.
Well,
there may be a riot in the driver's briefing tonight.
Let's see what he can do in Sector 1A.
Yes, let's move on and see where he is.
It's quick.
1900ths quicker than Coronel.
Coronel could be on the front row here.
Yeah.
He's giving it a good shot.
At the moment, you would think it should be shaping up between 2 world champions, Rob Huff and Jose Maria Lopez, but necessarily guaranteed that that is going to... Neal Hudson has been in touch from Touring Car Times, I'm assuming.
Nice useless fact for you. Tom Chilton was the last Chevrolet pole position.
Was he indeed?
In Beijing in 2014.
Good boy. Thank you indeed. Neal Hudson, a mine of information. So that was Royal Motorsport. Now, if Lopez fluffs this, it will be another Royal Motorsport Chevy.
No, that would have been RML. The last.
In what year?
No, you're right. It would have been around
2014. Won't have been RML.
No, we've had. This is the third year of these records, isn't it?
Yeah. He's 3,300 up. All right. It's not going to be a Coronel pole unless he doesn't go all four wheels off or something else happens.
Oh, good last sector as well.
Oh, blimey, O'Reilly.
Good lap. Slow down, save fuel. You are 6 tenths faster than Coronel. I'll let you know about Robert. Good job.
0.6 of a second. He went to the special draw again, didn't he?
With 80 kilos.
Okay, so...
Come on then, Huffy. It's down to you.
Yep. Huffy needs to find a very special lap. Huff Daddy, Huff Mummy, watching in the garage.
I think this is going to be a big ask for Rob, but I think the front row is definitely achievable for him.
Huff Franny, watching in the Middle East, I'm sure. We've got Legui Mummy and Legui Lizzie as well in the garage. It's all and sundry watching here. Such as Rob Huff's speed, it's actually starting to peel the number off the windscreen. It is actually car number 12, not car number 2, as it would appear to be at the moment. So you have to stick that down again. Here we go. So at the moment, Lopez is looking for his second pole of the season, the 16th of his career, which will put him 1 behind Tarquini in the all-time rankings, and only 13 behind Ivan. There's Huff Daddy and Huff Mummy.
Nice and clean so far, but how fast is it? Oh, no.
Half a second away? Wow. So this is the slowest first sector that we've seen. This is going to leave Rob in 5th place. No wonder Victoire is smiling. Jose Maria Lopez, fiance in the garage. And just to tidy another loose end up, Norby's girlfriend, no longer his girlfriend. They, of course, got married last summer. So it's Mrs. Norby. And Huffy still half a second away. Well, at that rate, he will be second, just ahead of Coronel.
He could still make the first row.
But if he's got nothing in Sector 1 or Sector 2, is Tom going to end up on the front row of the grid for the main race? Lopez will have pole of that, there is no doubt. Huff on splits currently 4th out of 5, and across the line in 3rd.
P3, Rob, thank you very much. Yeah, sorry boys, that's third one. Had a big slide in the apex, switched to the on the exit. And against the fast left. Car was a lot looser on that run.
Yeah, you got to say it was a good effort from Huffy, considering good effort to claw back what he he could have been proper down on the 3rd row there.
I even made a mistake in T10, but no, you know, we worked hard. We knew there was a chance here, and we did it.
Aldo Prio's happy. I think Yves Maton is happy, so it's always hard to tell. Jose Maria Lopez will start our main race tomorrow from pole position. Tom Coronel will start second in our main race, but the man who is on pole position is Jose Maria Lopez, and Alex is with him.
Once again, he pulls out a superb lap. Jose Maria Lopez, Pachito, that was outstanding. Well done. Congratulations, poleman, for our main race.
Yeah, fantastic. It's always nice to do the pole position here. I think, I don't know, maybe it's about the people, about the atmosphere we live here. And, you know, especially because I think Ivan is the master of Hungary. And it's been very difficult to beat him the last 2 years. So, yeah, I mean, fantastic job from the team. You know, fantastic job also from the other teams, especially Honda. They're still there, you know, even with the kilos. So definitely they are really hard rivals for us this year. Yeah, it's good to start like this. Still a long way to go. Now we have the Mach 3, so step by step we will see what happens tomorrow.
Pachito, you have now taken over the championship lead.
Yeah, it's still a long way, but it's good. I think it's going to be very tight, you know. We don't underestimate anyone, and we know everybody is working hard, and actually we've been working really hard since the beginning to deal with these kilos, and you know, even like this, you know, the other cars also are quick with the kilos, so no excuses, keep working, and I have a fantastic team, as I always say.
In the car for Mach 3.
Thank you.
He will be in the car for Mach 3. Lada will go out first. Citroën will go out second, and manufacturers, points leaders, Honda will go out last in the team time trial. Slightly better conditions than in the cycling this afternoon, where the team time trial was more about staying upright in vile weather than it was actually about trying to go quickly. It was self-preservation. So here are the drivers' points then. Jose Maria Lopez back in front by 2 over the man who led the points coming here, Thiago Monteiro, who finished in 4th place in Q3 with Lopez on the top of the pile. And now we go through into Mach 3, and Matt Neal seeing this for the first time. Entertaining combination of disciplines for the drivers here. You've got to go as quickly as you can and look after your teammates and your own tyres as well. So it's going to be very entertaining.
This is, if anyone's watched and been a fan of Tour de France and the pursuits, working as a team, this is what it's all about. And being based on it's the 3 cars from each manufacturer will go out, and they will draft, and it's the fastest last car across the line that scores the time. It's been phenomenally close in the opening 2 rounds. So it's, to say, Hondas have just got the edge marginally by it from everybody. But that's part and parcel through good teamwork rather than the fastest car out there. But they have got that Civic Type R really on song at the moment.
Well, we thought after the first ever Mach 3 in Paul Ricard, when Citroën beat Lada by 0.04 of a second, thought, right, that's insanely close. Maybe it's just a freak result. We're not going to get that kind of close result every time between 3 different types of car. And then blow me down if last week we didn't get a dead heat, not to the second, but to the 1,000th. Well, Alex is down in the pit lane with Tom Coronel, who is 2 things, sweaty and happy.
Big smiles, lots of sweat. Gosh, Tommy, that was a brilliant lap. P2.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think it was a good lap. I made 2 big mistakes. I mean, there was one big oversteer in T6. You must have seen that one. So I entered a little bit too fast on the brakes. I lost the car, but then I thought, okay, let's point the car with the oversteer, and I put full throttle, and it was all right. I hit the apex. Also T10, I braked a little bit too late, so there was a mistake. But I don't think I could have done the lap time of Lopez. But you know, we knew in Hungary and Villarreal, those are the type of circuits which are good for me and my car. And we did it, and that's always important that you take your chances, and yeah, we did.
Talk about the slides. Everybody is sliding. Everyone is struggling with this track.
Yeah, you know, well, struggling, it's good. It's challenging for a race car driver. I mean, if it's for everybody the same, I think it's good for the crowd to see that we're on the limit and maybe sometimes a little bit over the limit. I mean, this is part of racing. I mean, these are front-wheel drive cars, so it's difficult to see normally how tough we drive with the car. But I think now with the oversteers, you can see we're on the limit and maybe sometimes a little bit over.
Front row strategy then for tomorrow?
I never thought about that one. We didn't even think about being in the top 5, so we had to think about this case. I mean, I made a good start the first race in Magny, what is it? Le Casselet, Paul Ricard, and the second race I stalled. So let's wait and see. I mean, all the factory teams, they have special systems. I do everything manual. So I hope I can control everything, but it should be okay.
Well, at least it's better than going in with, well, that was a rubbish lap, wasn't it, Tom? You've got to say it was a quick lap. He might have been surprised, but it was certainly fast. Gabriele Tarquini will lead the Lada team out for Mach 3. He, Nicky Katzberg, and between the two of them, Ugo Valente, will head off and pull up on the start line, in fact on the finish line, because it's finish line to finish line. If the start line and finish line are in the same place, that's all well and good. If they're not, then you've got to go finish line to finish line. And the deal is they'll get into position, and then once they're in position, they'll be given a 15-second board. And the 15-second board tells the drivers it is 15 seconds until the start sequence begins, unlike what happened in Slovakia when halfway through that 15 seconds, suddenly the lights came on and went off immediately for the Lada team, and hey presto, it was happening. So, just to remind everybody that this is for manufacturers' points, not for drivers' points. And also, of course, there is one penalty that we're aware of at the moment for the opening race. Ted Björk, having had an engine change after Slovakia, will be starting 17th. So his qualifying pace for that is immaterial, and everybody else who qualified behind him will move up one spot. John Philippi, as I said, saw a turbo being changed on his car before qualifying. I don't believe that receives or demands a penalty. However, that remains to be completely confirmed. I'm a little fuzzy on that. So the car's heading out onto the grid. And again, as in Q3, if you get through for that, this is a set of tyres that won't get used again. It's now specifically for this one sequence of track action.
I tell you, it would be more fun to monitor if all the drivers could talk to each on the radio, which is outlawed and it's banned. We tried it in the BTC and it got banned very quickly.
It's banned in the BTCC.
Can the drivers talk to here?
We're a little bit more of an open camp here. Well, what the deal is now, we're going to have the team radios, team radio channels open the whole time. So yes, now when we were in Le Castellet and Huffy stalled, he was saying to the other drivers, keep pushing, keep pushing. There's a gentleman in the truck called George currently swearing a lot because he pressed the button for the team radio of Nicky Katzberg to come in and it didn't. So, but we are going to try and keep the team radio channel open. So if we hear them talking, we'll try and wrap up and you can listen as well as us. So here we go. They're at the start line, and that's also, or as you see, at the finish line rather. So they'll be given the 15-second board
15,
there.
14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7.
Lights on. Oh, and away they go now. We haven't had a jump start yet. We've had two teams stalled. Last week it's Ugo Valente, Nicky Katzberg rather, and the week before it was Rob Huff. We haven't had anybody jump a standing start before. I'm not sure whether that's going to count as one or not, and suddenly it all goes a bit squirrely for Nicky Katzberg, and Ugo Valente is going to have to go past him. Now the theory was, as you saw from the graphic before they started, that Nicky Katzberg was the man charged with being at the back of the train, but again, looking at Valente's car, that looks about as stable as jelly on a hot plate as well.
I was just having a chuckle to myself. Is normally every open lap, first lap of each race, Valente hits somebody. So
you may very well think that. I couldn't possibly comment. Oh, there's rain in the background.
Ooh, this could fall into Lada's hands very nicely, couldn't it?
Lada, the only team not to have won yet. They very nearly won in Le Castellet. Citroën beat them by 0.04 of a second.
Valente looks loose. Katzberg's on them. Right on his tail there.
Well, Tarquini's doing his job, which is to beaver off as quickly as humanly possible. It is starting to get really quite dark in the background. Now, again, I have no idea what, if any...
Why is Katzberg looking to his inside there to try and distract him?
To try and get clean air or something.
Who cares on one lap?
It's 2.
Wow.
And also, you know, you don't want to wash out too early. So here we go. This is the flying lap starts now. Tarquini's gone, but actually Valente will still be getting a bit of a tow from that half-second, 6/10 that he is behind. Katzberg is getting a bit of a tow, but also getting quite a lot of turbulent air off the back of Valente's car. Valente could ideally be 2 or 3 car lengths further forward, because Katzberg's sort of in the position where you almost want to go by Valente, but daren't even think about it. And it's not about how quickly Gabrielli gets to the line. It's not even about how quickly Valente gets to the line. It is all about how quickly Katzberg gets to the line.
Katzberg looks as though he could, he's got a little bit more pace in him than Valente's allowing him there.
On-board view with Nicky Katzberg. And of course, because he's in the slipstream on the quicker bits, he will be closing in a fraction on Valente. I mean, they've got identical cars, give or take, so he will close up in the slipstream. Oh. This could be very close indeed. So far, not seeing or hearing anything worrying about that slight twitchy start.
Wide.
Citroens are out of the pit lane and on their way round to the grid. Valente very slippery. Katzberg really hasn't got an awful lot more grip, has he? Look how much quicker Gabriele Tarquini is, because he's on his own and not having to worry about what's happening behind. We might be getting wet later, Matt.
Would liven things up coming out the car park, I guess.
Blimey, liven things up in Mach 3 if somebody encounters rain. So across the line, looking for the time, 3:43.028. So Lada's time has been set for Mach 3. We will have to see how Citroën fare next up. Well, not getting radio traffic from Lada, disappointingly. We'll see if we get anything from Citroën. Lada's lap is under investigation.
Yeah.
And that'll be that full start.
I don't think so. It was Valente maybe going wide through 11. He was way off.
But he's not the one that counts time-wise.
Very true. Katzberg was in nice and neatly inside.
So all sorts of potential. I mean, you know, this is just primed with opportunities to get it wrong. And the chances of getting it all right are really rather slender. See Bernani there dumping the clutch and trying to preheat the tyres as he comes around through corner 14.
Preheating the clutch is also a very critical thing as well, Martin.
Because you don't want it to bite too little. You don't want lots of clutch slip. You don't want wheel spin. So 3 Citroens are ready, and they are sort of ranked to the outside. Lopez, Muller, Bernani, you would imagine, would be the approved running order into the first turn. Did you notice the engine noise? With the Ladas, it was with the Citroens, it's just stick it on the limiter, let the electronics do its job.
Yeah, it's a restricted end. They held it on there a long time, though, didn't they?
Absolutely constant engine note from all 3 cars at exactly the same frequency. I mean, that's how good their electronics are. And Ivan did not make a good start, did he?
He did make a good start. I think he let Bernani go just because he had the inside line just for the greater good.
The problem is...
It's not a race, Martin. It's...
Exactly, and the problem is, as we've seen in the previous 2, Muller and Lopez have got a different pace to Bernani. Bernani has gradually dropped off the back of the other two.
I don't know, Bernani's on it at the minute.
Yeah. But he needs to keep that pace up. Two tenths up in sector one. But don't forget, when we're in Le Castellet, they were 2800s up at the end of the first lap and won by 400ths of a second. So we've seen them lose. In fact, in Le Castellet, they were 1.2 seconds up at the end of the first lap. So we've seen them lose comfortably over a second on one lap.
You're saying that Bernani...
Oh, Lopez out very wide. How wide was Muller?
Bernani was the
Muller
one with four wheels
just
off.
about kept it on the island. But that's turn 11, and that's the track limits absolute no-no. And Muller right up behind Bernani. Now the question is, what's going to happen first, Matt? Are we going to get through Mach 3, or is the track going to get wet? Because it is going to rain, and soon.
No, we're going to be okay.
You're looking out the front, go and look out the back door. 7 tenths up at the end of the first lap. Now, don't forget, that's from the standing start. They have to keep that pace alive through the second. Bernani's car looking less squirrely than the Lada's. Oh, Citroen's lap's under investigation as well. Okay, Honda, whatever else you do, stay on the track at turn 11. I know I'm, you know, leaning against an open door there, and it's easier to say than do, but all the same.
Bernani's keeping good pace, though. This is going to be a strong lap of the Citroens, despite the track limit infringements.
Yeah, they're nearly a second up, so their gap gradually increasing over Lada. But then, if you've got a car that relies more on that splitter and more on the downforce, does the second lap hurt you more than the car that doesn't quite so much? Ivan stays on at turn 11. Or is that 8 and 9? 9 and 10. Here we go, turn 11. That camera angle was a little low. I think it was better behaved, but they're already under investigation. So when we get to the end of this, we're going to have a result. Whether it remains the result, we're going to have to find out later.
Well, if Honda use all the tracking a bit more and four wheels off, then we could have...
no one winning.
Yeah.
Because so far we've had 2 teams go through and 2 under investigation. Across the line comes Bernani and Muller. 1.49.
Yes, box and save fuel. And do some pickup.
And also, don't be hanging around and mimsing on the way in either.
They need to put check and track, I think.
You just say what you think, Martin. Yeah, he's telling him to get some pickup in case the cars get weighed. They want to try and pick up any debris on the tyres with the sticky slicks, just to try and add any weight to the car in case they get thrown on the weighbridge when they come in.
The advantage here for Citroen over Lada. 1.49 seconds. Lada's Mach 3 run under investigation. Citroen's Mach 3 run under investigation. It is an open goal, I'm saying now, for Thiago Monteiro, Norbert Michelisz and Rob Huff. And the only way that they can turn it into an own goal is by running wide out of turn 11. Because we're assuming that that is the problem for both teams, unless both of them false started.
And unless it doesn't rain.
Well, that won't be Honda's, that won't be them turning it into an own goal. That would just be the law of Murphy, won't it?
It's not going to rain.
No, not in the next 4 minutes. Unless it does.
It's going to be wait till we're walking across the car park.
Without any coats or umbrellas. Yeah, it will, won't it? Okay, so here we go. It is now Honda's chance as the championship leading constructor for Mach 3. Far less popping and banging and no stalling this time. Rob Huff will try and tuck in behind Norbert Mikelic and Thiago Monteiro. He's already up behind Norby. Where's Monteiro going to go in this mix? Good work by the three of them. Huffy just breathing off the throttle a fraction there to allow his teammate to slot in front.
You can still see the stickers on the back of Monteiro's tyres. They are absolutely brand spank out of the box, they are.
Yep. Well, it's a tyre that you are only ever going to use here, so it's not part of your normal allocation, so you can't preheat it. You can't put a heat cycle through it in free practice. Same as your Q3 tyres, and that maybe is part of the reason that Q3 was not quite as quick for most of these drivers as Q1 and Q2, because the tyres had not been preheat cycled. Honda 1100s up in the first sector of 6.
Strong start for the Hondas, and they all look on good form there. Tight formation.
Yeah. Down to the chicane. Ooh. Thiago's car stepped out as he took a bit of curb there. Turn 8. And then 9. And then the fast left at corner 10. And into 11. And that's the real danger spot in terms of running out of track. Watch Huffy. Norby stays on. Huffy didn't have all 4 wheels off either, so that looks clean so far.
Still got a 10th up.
Only a 10th of a second in it. Another lap and a third to go. And as we saw with Lada, lead driver, in this case Norbert Mikelic, starting to ease away. Citroën watching above, Honda watching below. And at the line, are they in front? No, they've gone from 0.10 up to 0.13 behind. So they've lost nearly a quarter of a second in that final sector. Citroën had a 1:53.54, Honda rather a 1:53.67. Lado 1:54.28, first lap from that standing start. So looking back from Thiago Monteiro, he's in second of these 3 Hondas, and Huffy behind, and the gap is opening up, 23 hundredths. At the moment, this is Citroën's to lose in the stewards' room. Well, that's not happening, is it? 2300s behind, and they have to, again, they have to be cleaner than clean out of turn 11 here. Through 10, through 11. Thiago's clean, Huffy's clean.
They're all neat and tidy.
Yep.
Good formation.
1400s back at the penultimate split.
They've pulled time back on Citroën here.
Yep.
Good final sector, they're going to be on.
Final sector, this could come very close.
Go on, Huffy.
Now, is Honda's second lap going to be better than Citroën's second lap? It has to be quite a lot better than Citroën's second lap. Across the line, we're looking at Mikelic, we're looking at Monteiro, but we are waiting for Huffy to break the beam. And it is Citroën at the moment who have victory by 1700s, but Honda, there will be no investigation of their lap by the stewards as far as we can tell.
My 110. Fuck. Okay, but well done everyone anyway. Well done everyone. Good job to everyone, very good job. 70 kilo, but we feel less. Good job.
Mikelic congratulating the boys as Honda complete Mach 3 at the moment, 1700ths of a second behind Citroën. And that is the biggest margin we've had, first to second.
Well, it ain't over yet, is
No,
it?
I know, it's not over yet, because Citroën's lap and Lada's lap are both going to be investigated by the stewards, which means that they think there was something wrong with them. Either a jump start, as we definitely saw a bit of a flinch from Ugo Valente, or exceeding track limits, as we believe we saw from certainly Citroën.
Valente and Mehdi Banani with the Citroën. So the one who was super clean was Honda.
Yep.
To be fair.
Well, you know, that, I mean, above all else, that's what they had to do, is to get a clean lap that was impeccable, because that actually might be the deciding factor. You know, when you're talking about 17 hundredths of a second and one car exceeds track limits,
you can tell,
and keeps the momentum up more than its rival.
I wondered why all the drivers were scattering, because Alex is loitering with a microphone, looking to pounce on someone for an interview.
That was quite lucky as well, timing-wise, because definitely seems to have some spots of rain on my window.
We're going to get wet on the way back to the paddock.
Martin Haven, a.k.a. weather forecaster.
Hey, 5 minutes later, and it might have been very different. 10 minutes later,
Martin,
it really might have been very different.
I've always said you're a wasted talent doing this commentary job.
No, you've always said I'm a waste of space, not a wasted talent. All right, let's hear what Citroën had to think about that. Alex Legui is down, mingling among them.
Well, you boys, Pachito's gone off to press conference, but you two, that was a brilliant Mach 3. Ivan, it looked like you struggled off the start a little bit.
Yeah, but it was expecting, because on the middle of the road, nobody start over here during the whole weekend. So I was expecting much more wheel spin over there, but it was not really a problem.
And Banani, how about you? What was it like for you? Because this time you were in between the other two.
Yeah, for sure. I had only to follow the Lopez. He was very quick in front, I think a few tenths quicker. So I think that I need only to follow, and I need to be very, very clean. I try to do my best, but it's not easy, because you lose too much aero when you are behind the car, and sometimes you are in trouble. So I hope it was okay.
Do you feel quite a lot of pressure when you're in between these two?
No, I know that Ivan is very quick, but if he's going to overtake or somewhere on the track, we try to don't lose the time. Even in the first corner, I try to stay inside, and if I saw him going inside, directly outside from the other corner, I will leave. But it was okay, I think, and we try to have a gap each other and to fight against the time lap, not against together.
It's a difficult balance. As we said, you know, during the Mach 3, you lose a lot of the front-end grip, and the more the car's performance is determined by aero, then the harder it hits you, particularly on the second lap when you're going that bit quicker all the way around, you know, down into turn 1 and so on. You're in the slipstream, you're in that turbulent air.
Yeah, and it's very alien for a lot of these guys. They're all, you know, week in, week out, trying to have each other's eyes out for their whole careers, and suddenly they've got to start working. Even your teammates, you know, you're trying to beat them, and suddenly they're having to work together. It's you know, it's going against the grain what's been beaten into them over the last how many years.
Well, Citroën at the moment with maximum points from Mach 3, that is subject to investigation by the stewards. However, Honda continue to lead the manufacturer standings, and that is it for Saturday, at least on track. So join us for our races here on Sunday.